Speed's IRT Esports events. My name is Jim Morris, and today, for the first time in a long time, today joined with me is Stefan.
Hello everybody. Thanks for having me, Jamie. Glad to be alongside you once again for another commentary session here. It's been quite a while. I'm not sure how long it's been actually, but glad to be alongside you once again.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And we've been commentating about Hungary as well. I remember the last few races we had around here in commentary in different leagues, but here we are for the esports event. Last time out, we were at the Zandvoort Grand Prix in real life too, and on the game, and also the first Grand Prix was the Belgian Grand Prix too, where we saw a great race between the two McLaren drivers and the battle for the podium at the very end, which turned out to be in tears because that went down to the wire as people were involved in some contact and caused people to spill out, and others gained from it too, such as David, Danny Connor and Daniel in P2 and P3, but Daniel started at the back of the grid, made his way up to P2, but we'll see what happens here tonight around here in Hungary. It's a 4.6 kilometre circuit, I think, and it was first introduced back in 1986, and it has produced some great races, but it's also one of the tracks where it can either be a great race or a boring race.
For sure, though, it's a very interesting circuit, a personal favorite of mine. It's a very tight circuit. They call it Monaco's without the barriers, even though the barriers are quite tight still. It's still a very fun circuit, very technical. So it will be a very good race. It will have 35 laps. Normally it's 70 laps, but of course it's a 50% race. So it will only be a 35 laps around the circuit, around 1 minute 14 to 15 lap time here, so it will be very difficult to follow each other, and overtaking generally is very difficult. Most overtaking opportunities will be done into turn 1 or even into turn 2 there, turn 3, that section right there. That people will try to overtake mostly right there because it's just a very tight circuit right here in the Hungary ring.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well. As we're aboard with the AlphaTauri, then Henry going for a lap time in the AlphaTauri as he rounds off the final corner and is about to go on board with him to see what he can do around this track as he opens the DRS now, headed on the straight where we'll see overtaking opportunities going there down into turn number 1 as we approach 310 kilometers an hour, about 190. Is the first corner, upshifted immediately on the exit, bit of wheel spin on the exit too for good measure, but gets the car straightened up and on the power, headed down into turn number 2 as he takes it through third gear, on the throttle immediately, then upshifted through the gears, flat out through turn number 3 I think, and now we're coming up towards the hill where it can be quite difficult, especially on track limits. So a bit of hesitation as he throws the car in as we head now into turn number 6, another difficult corner, especially if you get on the curb on the inside, braking before the 50-metre board, slightly missing the apex of turn number 7 there, but compromised into turn number 8 as we come through these mid-speed corners. Then into this middle sector we go as we head off into this left-hander, now chucking it into this right-hander, lifts off the entry, 53.8 in this middle sector as we arrive down into turn number 13. Let's see how he takes it. Bit of wheel spin on the exit as he took to his curb on the outside, so compromised exit for him as we get on the throttle once again, then bring it over to the left hand side. Into the final corner we go. Let's see what lap time it is from the AlphaTauri as we head towards the line. It's going to be a 50.4 as the benchmark.
Very accurate time right there. I'm not sure what a representative time is around Hungary, since this is actually the first league race I've commentated on for this game, so I'm not sure what the accurate time is, as Shiryu goes faster with a 15.3, exactly 15.3, so but my prediction seems to be right with a 15 to a high 14 there, so of course Hungary is a short circuit, so we wouldn't see too much of a difference compared to last game here, but yeah, pretty accurate timer there. Looked very neat and tidy, but I'm certain times will improve later on in the session, as these are bank laps here, as name changes left the session, but set a lap there with a 15.3. I'll make sure to invite him once again right there, but he goes into second place for the moment.
Yeah, luckily he just crossed the line in time to get a lap time in. He just left as well once he crossed the line, so luckily for him, he's got that bank up there as Snipers in the AlphaTauri goes ahead of his teammate with a 50.3 then just over a tenth quicker. As Car Racer in the Aston Martin goes quickest now with a 50.2 then, and is a few hundreds quicker than Chihuahua, who put his Aston Martin into P2, as Matteo in McLaren then with a 50.1. So ETA have been looking really strong as well in the recent races, especially at the Belgian Grand Prix, where they secured that 1-2 with Daniel and Mohammed. So now with two different drivers on the board here, going for more success around here in Hungary, they'll be hoping to continue their great form as well as they've had in the past few races. And we're seeing more drivers there coming towards the pit lane. We've got to David in the Haas on his lap time, to a bit squirrely coming out of turn number 1 there. Hopefully name changer is back in the session immediately, as TJ Boss in the Ferrari goes into P2 with a 15.2 there, and a few hundreds quicker than Kart Racer. And I think Williams just crossed the line of Cobra, I think, who's up into P8.
The Ferrari went up to P2 as well, the 15.252 right there, slots in between the McLaren driver and the Aston Martin driver there. Of course, teams ATA and NLR right there, so pretty good time there from the Ferrari driver right there. Slotting in between those teams right there, and times are fairly close with each other as well, only about 3 tenths between first and, or 2 tenths between first and 7th here, so very close times at the moment right there, but I'm certain times will improve later on in the session as the conditions might improve there, might get a bit warmer, since it is cloudy at the moment here around the Hungaroring.
We've got David then making his way towards the line. Let's see what lap time he could do in the Haas. It's a 50.9 and goes into P11. So do you have the best lap time? I saw him get loose on the exit, so that's definitely cost him a bit of time there. But majority of drivers are in the pit lane, and we're just awaiting them to get back out of the circuit, see what lap times they can deliver for us. But at the moment, as it stands, Matteo is in P1 then with a great time of 50.1. So I dare say later on in qualifying we might see them inside the 14s, and let's see if anybody can improve from that. But yeah, there it is then. There's the grid for the time being. We're just waiting for the second part of qualifying. And the AlphaTauri out there once again. I think we were on board with him at the first time, and we're going to be on board with him for the second time as well in this session. So 11 minutes left to go on the clock then. It is a short track, so you can get multiple runs here at the Hungaroring, unlike in Belgium where it's a long track. You only get about 3 or 4 runs in. You can do multiple runs here as well, such as like Astrald. We've seen Julian in P4 and P10 do 2 laps on the set of soft compound tyres, because on their first run they've either made a mistake or unvalidated, and therefore got the time to do another lap on the same set of tyres. But we've got Henry then coming towards the middle sector, just braking and accelerating, as we've seen plenty of times in league racing history in 2023. We'll see plenty of people do this braking accelerating method, as it's formerly known to be, instead of weaving around trying to get temperature in your brakes and tyres, and also burn some fuel off. So it actually kills 2 birds with 1 stone there, just get rid of some fuel and also heat up the tyres. But the AlphaTauri makes his way now towards the final corner, so we're about to see what he does again on his second attempt. Crossing the line now with DRS. We've got a few more cars heading out the pit lane, but the Aston Martin there on the right hand side gets nicely out the way, as once again we head down into turn number 1. He does that double shifting once again. Wheel spin on the exit, but it wasn't as bad as the last time round we saw him. As we make our way down into turn number 2, let's say we take this down into 3rd, on the throttle immediately, full throttle into turn number 3, flat out through here, nice and easy flat as we head down into turn number 4. How much is always improved quite a bit, so that's almost 1/10 bit, but a bit of an oversteer coming out of turn number 4 then, but corrects it as counter steers into that as we head down into this little chicane. Let's see where he takes it. Last time out he went a bit deep. It was deep, but wasn't as deep as he did on his first attempt, so might gain a bit more time on this lap. But let's see how it unfolds there to this rest part as we come into this right hander. We go, a slight lift off an entry. Oh, look at that, that's 4 tenths improvement there, so that could put him on pole position if he can find more time. You can see there sliding at the exit there as he gets to the throttle, so the rear tyres working at their best as he continues to wrestle the car, and that was a bit iffy coming out of turn number 13 there, but hasn't cost him any time. You can see he got a bit wide, understeered off the track, so he might have cost himself a bit of time, but it's a 15.1 regardless. But bearing in mind though, he lost over a tenth on his flying lap in the 3rd sector. Wow.
That last sector looked very interesting, to say the least. Running a bit wide, maybe overheating the tires a bit too much there, where he just understeers a bit off the track because he was pretty much all the way over the curbs right there in turn 12 and on the exit of turn 13 right there. So it looked very bad right there, but the middle sector looked really good, where he found most of his time. Like Jamie said, he was 4 tenths up and then dropped another tenth. So with that in mind, he will have potential to go into the 14s right there. So, but he's currently on pole, but other guys are starting their second runs as well, like Matteo and Kart Racer, who's currently on their second run right now. Let's see how they do.
Name changer in that first sector, only a few hundreds down in that first sector right there for him in the Aston Martin. I think, who was it who I went on board with? I can't actually remember now. Was it Kart Racer? I actually can't remember who it was. It was one of the Williams drivers who was down in the first sector. It was actually Cobra in the Williams. You can see him there on the right hand side, backing off, and also name changer is 2 tenths down. Have we got a spinner down at turn number 6 there in the Alpha Tower? Let's have a look. Oh, I think that's somebody. Yeah, somebody backing off. Maybe gone for a spin. You can see the marbles on the tyres there, but I think he's just backing off, letting people go. So we've got Chihuahua in the middle sector going a tenth quicker, a tenth and a half quicker in that middle sector then. So let's see what he can do in this final sector. Can he get his car anywhere near the top there? As he has to find about a few more tenths in that last sector. Car Racer at 50.0, Chihuahua at 50.0. Wow, that's incredible. That's so close between the top two there. As Car Racer has been beaten by a few hundreds.
Also, Julian improving on the second lap right now, about 2 tenths up, so he'll be in the mix around Chiliu and Car Racer right there. Looks very neat and tidy so far in the final sector. Tighter than Andrew did in the final sector. What can Julian do? He goes faster with a 15.01111. 13 thousandths faster than his teammate, and it's an IRT 1-2 at the moment. Stop the count right there. As it's a 1-2 right now, but still there's 6 minutes left and other cars still needing post laps right there. We had Snipes getting off the way, who's just started his second run at the moment in the AlphaTauri. Can he be anywhere near his teammate? He's improved by a tenth, as Chables has also found time. The third driver into the 14s right there for the Ferrari driver. A very good time right there. But what can Snipes do? He's a tenth up after sector 1, and in the middle sector you can find most of the time right there. As it looks very good at the moment. Carry on in this right-hander right now. Keep it in 6th gear, and how much time is found? He's found pretty much 3 tenths, which should bring him near by Julian and Chables right there. Looks good and tight so far. Can he do a better final sector than his teammate right there, who's currently in P5? Take a bit of a wide line, bit squabbly right there, but it looks very good at the moment for at least a P2 right there. Snipes going towards the line right now for a 14.973 right there and beats Chables there. So Snipes done a very good time right there with 5 minutes to go. Good job by the AlphaTauri driver.
Wow, what an incredible lap time. Sorry about that. I was somebody came in, but hopefully that's settled now. And he's over 100 quicker than J Boss then into second place of the Ferrari. Both IRT boys in P3 and P4, so he'll be doing the boss please, I think. So let's see if anybody else is out there on the flying. Looks like all the flying laps at the moment have come to an end, and we're just waiting then for all the drivers to go out there for the final flying runs with a 40.9 they have to beat. So basically, yeah, majority of in the 15s, but they would dearly love to be the 40s, as 2 of them currently are so far. Just at the fringes as well, with a 40.973 there from Snipes in P1. So we've still got the McLaren down in P16 to set a flyer lap. I'm not really seeing him much out there on the track, so hopefully he can get running, and whatever problems he has for the time being, he can he can try and solve them and try and get back on the track as soon as he can, because he hasn't got a lap time either. So leaving it to the fringes of the last moments is the McLaren down at P16, as all the drivers then are headed back in the pit lane, and we'll wait to see what the end of qualifying brings us and who can get to the top of the timing sheets.
For sure there, with only about 2 tenths in there between 1st and 7th, it's going to be a very exciting end to the qualifying right there. And we know the guys maybe at the track can certainly find time there and will be along the mix there for those top positions right there. Since of course the track will be at the best near the end of the session here, with the tire of the track going up the temperature here. So it's going to be exciting end to qualify. I'm not sure what's going to happen because we have seen so many position changes after the second one, because we had Andrew on pole position and he's now down to 6th place right there. So qualifying will be very close. Obviously, one of the Mercedes coming out, I think that's Julian going out for their final run first right there. So it's going to be an exciting end to this qualifying session. Who's going to grab pole position? You're about to find out. Who do you think is going to grab pole position then, Jamie?
Oh my, I have no idea, but the AlphaTauri P6, if Andri, if that's how you pronounce your name, but if he can hook up that final sector, because he lost a bit of time in that final sector, so he was sliding all over the place with the tyres probably overheating, as you said, so he was going out wide in every single corner too, losing the traction as well for good measure, so if he can get up there, he'll be joining his teammate with a 1-2, so he'll be looking to rectify those mistakes because he was improving until that final sector came and just lost a bit of time, but still into P6. So he'll be looking to rectify those mistakes and join his teammate there in P1, representing WR, of course. So WR looking with interest because they know one of their drivers in P6 has the potential to be up there, but he'll be quite nervous because he knows he can do it, but during the end of qualifying, pressure's quite high, and the chance of making mistakes as well are quite common at the end of qualifying due to the pressure ramping up and also having that last chance. I know the Ferrari, the AlphaTauri, they almost made contact too, but luckily got out of the way. So I'm keeping an eye on my AlphaTauri. Do you know what? We've been on board with him twice in a row, so I might do it for the third time just to give him that screen time. So as he gives space towards Mercedes, which is Julian in P3, he comes towards the final corner for the final time in qualifying, and all eyes on him then to see if he can take pole position as he makes his way now down the straight, headed into turn number 1 as we break at the 100-meter board, down through the gears, into second, upshift to third. This is where, as well, look at that, another wheel spin. I think that's okay there. I think that's quite common. It looks like a Mercedes though has backed off. So is he going for a double push lap, a cool down lap, or a double out lap, sorry? And he has the time, but not too much. He can't afford to back off, can that Mercedes? But let's see, he's 600s down that first sector. It might play a mental effect on your driving there because you're down, you want to find time desperately, but you might end up making mistakes because you want to go an extra bit quicker to make up some lost time. So we're heading into this middle sector then into 4th gear. Let's see how he takes it. Very nicely as well, good rhythm, good momentum into these corners as we make our way into this fast right hander we go. Let's see how he takes it. Very nice, and he's 600s down, but bearing in mind though, if he can get this final sector hooked up, he knows he lost time through here, so this is the time he can find and deliver. This is one of the corners as well where he made a mistake. Not too bad this time, so he should find a bit of time. I saw his teammate back off in the first sector, so I think that's qualified. Oh, a huge mistake there, off board with him. Oh, that's a shame there. It's the final corner that caught him out. One more corner to go, and one too many proving to be him, unfortunately for him.
That's a shame right there. Just has difficulty in the final sector right now. Shiliu has gone faster with a 14.8 there. It has about a 10th, less than a 10th advantage to Snipes right there. But shouldn't celebrate too early yet as other cars are still coming through to complete their final runs right now. We know Julian has done a second out lap right there, so he's going to be on his lap right now. But it's so busy currently on track here, and Snipes has improved, he's 10 seconds down. Chables hasn't improved as well, unfortunately. It's only Julian realistically that can improve his time, so it looks to be that Julian is the only one that can challenge See you for pole position, and he crashes out of qualifying right there. The Mercedes has crashed out as Mateos grabbed pole position with a 14.849, just about beating Chiliu right there. Very good lap there from the ETA driver, and looks to be that ETA has got pole position covered right now as car racer hasn't improved as well right here.
His ETA teammate Nicolope in P6 has finally got off the mark in P16 and got up to P6 then, so great qualifying from both McLarens. Whatever problems Nicolope had down there, looks like it's sorted now as Rick Gamby has joined the session there, so I'm not quite sure if he's racing or supporting one of his drivers just filling in the spaces because they're only 16s, of course. So there's more spaces to join if you want to coach the drivers or whatever. But yeah, qualifier's done then with ETA Matteo on pole position ahead of the IRT driver of Sahila. What a great lap time from both of them with a 14.8. Fine margins around this difficult track as well. It's only about 40 corners, but Sahila there almost loses it in the pit lane. Shame for Julian in P5 there, but still great pace for him. Great development as well from Julian because or during this game, his pace has gone quicker and quicker. I say that from an IoT point of view because I don't really know about any of the drivers here except Julian and Sahilu, of course, because I've known them for quite long. So, excuse my biasness, but you understand that being in this team, I've known their pace for quite a long time, and they really have improved as well. Especially Sahilu, wasn't in ILT for that long either, and only just joined recently. So he's done a great job so far for ILT.
Yeah, not too shabby of a qualifying session right there. Julian was about the 10th up after Sector 1 alone, so the potential was there to have even a better time right there. And he crashed out in turn 4, lost the back end, and then, yeah, crashed out there. So P5 it will be for Julian, but certainly has made a step up compared to last year. And but we can say that about every team right there has made some step ups right there. The reason why we only have 16 drivers is because PTR have not showed up, unfortunately, and JR have unfortunately pulled out of the event. So we should have had only 18 drivers maximum, and one team didn't show up. But 16 drivers isn't too bad at all, and only I think the top 10 can score points here. So it should be an exciting race regardless, with less show-ups than usual. So. Yeah, exciting qualifying session. I'm looking forward to the race.
Yeah, me too as well. I might have said that there's 4 different teams in the top 4 as well, so that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, 4 different teams in the top 4 right there will definitely spice things up right there. But then again, if you look below the top 4 right there, we've got another IRT driver, another ETA, an Aston Martin, and then another AlphaTauri driver. So all different teams are across the standings right here. So this definitely should spice up strategy for maybe like an undercut around lap 14 or 15. Of course, it depends what tires everyone's going to start on, but this will definitely spice up the Grand Prix with undercuts and overcuts potentially. Don't really know what tires are the best here. It will be very difficult. I reckon we're going to see a lot of medium runners in the top 6 and then switching up to the hard tires right there. Since the tire temps do cope quite a lot here, especially with the warm weather we have currently, as you can see on screen right now. So I don't think the soft tires are necessarily going to be used, as they will overheat quite a bit. And I think the hard tire will be a popular tire to be in the race for pretty much the entire, for every track on the F1 23 game.
Should be a normal one-stop strategy unless safety cars interfere with this race. But yeah, like you said, a normal hards to medium strategy or mediums to hards. We'll find out what tyres of people have gone for in this race. The preferred strategy, if it's plain sailing with no safety cars, is usually hards to mediums, because you can take a hards a long way in this race, and the mediums will be much better as you reduce the stint on the hard compound tyres. That's the way to go. And obviously ever since 2028 to 2022 onwards, that's always been the norm in any single racetrack around here, because in 2021 we had that qualifying rule, whatever you set your best lap time on, that's the tyres you start on. And in this, and sorry about that, I just drank water, it's gone down the wrong hole, so just choking, try not to choke at the time being. I'll meet myself before this. In fact, I can't meet myself now because the race is about to start, unless it's a formation lap, which I don't think there is. Yeah, it's a
There
formation
is
lap.
formation lab because it is fixed. I use it in LOE myself, so it should be fine. Haven't had any glitches with it. There were glitches with that people were just getting disqualified after if they made contact with another car from the entire race, which is a bit strange. There are plenty of glitches on this game, which sucks, but yeah, that's the way it is. But it seems to be fixed right now with EA fixing this game. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to just focus on the race. Talking about the race, we're going to have gonna get the tires up right now, and we see both ETA drivers starting on the soft tires. So I said the soft tires wouldn't be a popular tire, and pretty much half or a quarter of the grid has gone on the soft tires. So I can't speak for anything, to be honest. Then you've got about half of the grid on the mediums, and then only 4 drivers on the hard tires. So this will definitely spice things up, with the soft tires of course providing a lot of grip in the beginning of the race, trying to make up as many positions as you can, but they won't last very long as well, where the hard tires will of course be to benefit on the long term here. So it's gonna be interesting Grand Prix right here. It's gonna be interesting to see how the soft tires provide or how many positions they can gain from the start here.
Yeah, hard tyres, the durable tyres, mediums, the mid-range, and softs, the most malleable tyre as well. So all 3 tyre compounds are being used here in the race, and interestingly, some of the teams as well go for the same strategy, such as ETA in P1 and P6 there. And it looks like both AlphaTauris are splitting their strategies, one on the softs and the other on the mediums. So let's see how it all pans out, because the soft compound tyres then being used, and I've seen this in other races as well around here in 2023. I don't think tyre wear is that bad than I usually expect in any single track, especially around here in Hungary, where the tyres I've seen in recent games have dropped off dramatically. So I need to do my research on the tyres as well, because I've not raced here for quite a long time in 2023, where I have in other games. So that's why I have much more experience than this. But anyways, all 16 drivers making their way to the grid. Julian in P5 might be under pressure as others around him are on the softs and mediums there, so watch out for those hovers maybe falling down the order. Can Silu get a good start off the line there? We've got 5 lights, and we are underway for the Hungarian Grand Prix for IRT Esports for round 3. Looks like Matteo on those soft compounds has got a decent start, but Sahilio might fancy a chance up the inside. No, because the door shuts and he has to go around the outside. But instead, it's Snipes going around the outside into turn number 1. Who gets a better exit? Looks like they're both level pegging so far, with the helping hand with the EOS. Will go down into turn number 2. Slight contact between both of them, but not enough to merit a spin. And as we go into turn number 3, Matteo stays in P1 ahead of Snipes. Sahilio's in P3. Julian is actually into P4 despite a bit on the hard, but further down David is off the track down there at turn number 4, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but he's followed all the way down into last place now. As you can see, TJ Boss is all over the back of Julian. He goes up the inside at turn number 6 here, and they both go argy-bargy there, just squeeze each other out of the McLaren of Nicola P. Just takes advantage of the Alpha Tower, but the Alpha Tower is going up the inside. Both make contact, and luckily for him, he didn't get into a spin, but the car was sliding to the corner as the McLaren is up into P6, or stays where we are for the time being.
Very good start there from Julian on the hards there. Provided to have good traction there, but you can see the hard tires are losing quite a bit of time compared to the top 3 here, and all the soft runners and the medium runners behind are really pushing Julian here around every corner here, but he's managed to keep ground for now here. Matteo had a good start with Snipes going side by side into turn 1. Actually, Snipes going down the inside of turn 1 right here, going alongside Matteo and taking the lead there for WR. Good overtake there from Snipes, and this allows Julio to have an opportunity. For example, Jables is overtaking Julian there. The medium tires providing more grip than the hard tires at the moment, so he'll be looking forward to gain to the top 3 right here, and Julian's got to stick within the DRS. These laps will be painful here for the Mercedes driver, but if he can stick within the 1 second window of Ferrari, then he'll be in a good window later on in this race. But so far a clean start, apart from David who just hit the ball. I don't think he picked up damage because he didn't go into the pits there, but he will need some he needs to gain back up into the DRS train at the moment.
Yeah, I'll talk about the DRS trade. TJ Boss actually got himself in that DRS trade because these top 3 were quite close to each other, and they were fighting early doors. They were hoping to pull away, especially the top 2 on the soft compound tyres, but they had a fight down the straight instead. Further behind, we've got the Haas of Alpine fighting for P14 and P15 there, as the Haas of Rick Gamby comes out on top ahead of Loke in P15. But we head on to lap 3, where that all important, most favourable tool, DRS, is enabled then, and Sahilo in P3 is sticking to the back of this battle as well, so that'll do him dividends later on in this race if he could stay there in P3, because the soft compound tyres being attached to both of these cars there, these softs won't go the distance that long in this race, and therefore Sahilu's tyres will be much better later on in this race, so keep an eye on him in P3 as well. Julian in P5, let's see how his strategy plays out, because he's in P5, he's got Nicolope right to the back of him on those soft compound tyres as well, so Nicolope will be hoping to get past that Mercedes while these softs are still in play and still in good shape for the time being, so he doesn't want to get stuck behind that Mercedes whatsoever, and hopefully join his teammate in the battle for the top there. But both McLarens then opted to go for the soft compound tyres. I thought they'd split their strategies there and take their chances, but instead both on the same tyres and both having the same strategies, so let's see how they work in their favours towards later on in this race. But still, Snipes leading Matteo in P2 ahead of Sahilu there, who's keeping interested with the top 3, as TJ Boss overtaking Julian a few laps ago and put himself into P4 then on the back of this DRS train, and that's very important to be there to stick with the race lead and not drop away from these guys. So yellow flag down there, who is that? Was it Rick Gamby? I'm not quite sure, but he's dropped into P14 with his Haas teammate right behind him of David. So both Haas are struggling. Here comes Matteo up the inside into turn number 1. Look at Nicolope go for a move on Julian. The AlphaTauri goes wide, and here comes Julian on the AlphaTauri, takes advantage. Sahilu, sorry, and he moves himself up into P2 then ahead of the AlphaTauri, and further behind Nicolope has got past Julian and up into P5 he goes.
Good move there from all the drivers there. Even though there was slight contact, there wasn't any major squeezing each other off the track right there. Good racing there from all the drivers right there. And there goes the McLaren slightly off track, so that probably will be a track limit. You were right about McLaren driver there having just use his soft tires to full effect right there and stick within the DRS train, make as many moves as possible. And for Julian's sakes, his stakes just to keep his front wing clean, because his race will arrive later. He might be overtaken currently by other cars, but the soft tires won't last that much longer than other cars. If you go down the field, we saw Lower making a mistake right there, because he was in 14th, but just had a slight mistake there, and now is behind David right there in 16th. Seems to be struggling in terms of grip, maybe a bit of tire temps are too high, like we mentioned early on in this race, but he seems to be struggling quite a bit for the RCR team.
And Chihuahua there in P2 in a great position now to take the lead of this race if he wants to. Headed into turn number 1, no, he backs out of it for the time being. Doesn't want to get past that McLaren yet in this race, so leaves him there in P1 for the time being. So when will he decide to make his overtake going up into P1? Just want to stay in second place there in the DRS trade, trying to save up some great amount of ERS. Mateo's got some great ERS as well, but I dare say Mateo might have a hard time of keeping Sahilu at bay, bearing in mind though he's on the soft compound tyres, so it might be a bit difficult for him. Not able to break that gap as those two would have wanted, such as Matteo, Snipes and Nicolope in P5 then, so they're going to have a hard time on those soft compound tyres until they go to the pit lane. Julian in P6 on those hards, doing a great job sticking with this train, so do him dividends later on in the race once he switches over to the mediums or softs. But yeah, I'm surprised these soft compound tyres were used in this race. As you can see, Snipes is under huge pressure. Oh, TJ Boss got on the curb there and had a huge step of oversteer. And I wanted to talk about the AlphaTauri because in the same place a lap ago he was wide off the track, so he might have an invalidation to his name and can't afford 2 more of them before he picks up a 3-second time penalty. It looks like he's going to the pit lane, so a short stint on those soft compound tyres, and it looks like it hasn't worked so far.
This means probably it's going to be a 2-stop for the WR driver there. Soft tires just not providing any grip there. This is probably expected that the soft tires were going to drop off quickly here, but this means we're going to see a 2-stop race potentially compared to a 1-stop there for that Julian is going to use right there. So we're going to check Snipes' progress right there, because I'm not sure how long Matteo is going to stay out for. Is he going to respond to this undercut there from Snipes, or is he going to just stay out longer and have fresher mediums there after a couple of laps? This race has just gotten very interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the soft compound tyres were used, and Snipes there in P16 having to do that 2-stop strategy, so he's going for your pure pace on those soft, medium strategy, as he probably chose the balance strategy where you get I think 3 sets of softs and 2 sets of mediums, and two sets of hards, or that's the harder strategy, of course. But anyways, because he bittered, TJ Boss is outside the 1 second range of DRS then, so he needs to get himself in there as quickly as he can so he can stick with the back of Sahilu, as Sahilu is being held up, I dare say, on the back of Matteo, because he's been holding that McLaren all the way through in this race. And he had great pace since the get-go. However, his teammate Julian in P5 just slipping away from the 1 second range of DRS. Actually, on the last lap, he got pressured by the AlphaTauri, who went up the inside of turn 1. But Julian had the outside line, had better traction. I dare say Sahila might get this done on this lap, and he does. So lap 7, he moves himself up into P1 ahead of the McLaren of Matteo. And let's see if Matteo then will decide to pit after this lap, because he might lose a bit more time towards Snipes in P16 there. There's a 2.5 second gap to try and claw his way back in before Matteo pits and tries to do the undercut on him. Two Hasses swapping positions there, down in 13 to 14. Not had the great races so far, but they're having their own race down in P13 and P14, so let's see what they could do from there. Kart Racer, haven't mentioned him much. He's currently in P7 in the Aston Martin, right behind the AlphaTauri as well on those. Also on those hard compound tyres, I think 4 drivers went into the hards. But yeah, Captain picks up a 3 second penalty for multiple warnings. Also, penalties could play a huge effect as well in this race, because it's so easy to run off or to exceed track limits anywhere. So we might see some of that later on towards the race, and let's see if penalties play effect on the results later on. But however, Matteo is 1.3 seconds out of DRS range, and not good for TJ Boss whatsoever, because he wants to be in DRS range of his fellow medium runner Sahilu, as he decides not to pit, so he constantly extends that stint on those softs. Do you think he might be going for a soft to hard strategy, Matteo in P2?
I reckon that would be a mistake, because he's losing so much time to Shiyu right now, who's on the medium tires, Capitan pitting as well. And at the same time, he's losing so much time to Snipes, who's also trying to cut past the back marks right now, making slight contact there with Loak, but he's made the move past. But he's gonna lose so much time to the other cars right there, even though his pace was better on the soft tires than Snipes. He's just gonna lose so much time, and even if he stays out this long and goes on the hard tires, Snipes will have an advantage 2 times, because he will be on the medium tires right now, and for the last stint, Snipes will on the mediums again, whilst Matteo will be on all hards. I don't think this will be a good call by ETA, but they're still in 2nd and 4th, so there's still a long race to go.
The AlphaTauri obviously dropped it coming out of turn 4, I believe that is, or turn 5, because Julian made a mistake coming out of the corner, which allowed the AlphaTauri to come to the inside, but he lost traction, almost spun the car, so luckily he stayed where he is. Not quite sure what happened to Julian. I think he's desperately to try to stay in DRS range, the guys ahead. So interestingly, both McLarens on the soft compound tyres stay out there, but they're actually out of DRS range from the nearest guys ahead. Nicolope is outside of DRS range of TJ Boss. Matteo is outside of DRS range of Sahila as well. So what will TJ Boss and the Ferrari do against Matteo? Will he get past him immediately, try and follow Sahilo? How long will he decide to stay behind the McLaren? We'll see. Both Williams, however, down in P8 and P9 got rather close in the last lap, as Snipes, that's the fastest lap of the race, being on those newer medium compound tyres, making his way through the field one by one. And look at the Aston Martin kart racer, then gets a decent exit on the AlphaTauri. This might be a risky move, then going up around the outside. Oh no, they made contact! And they're both off the track together! And that wasn't going to end well, ever since the kart racer stuck his wheel around the outside, and unfortunately lost quite a few places. And well, actually the AlphaTauri lost quite a few places down at P11. Kart Racer, I think, lost 2 of them. But yeah, that ended in tears right there.
That was not a good move there. Overtaking in turn 4 is very difficult regardless, so if you even make contact right there, then it's going to end in tears, and you're only going to lose more time to other cars right there. But this does mean that both LDL cars have been promoted to 6 and 7. I haven't spoken about them at all this stream, but they're still in 6 and 7, both on the medium tires there, so they're still in a really good shape there to be competing for a podium there. As Matteo has stayed out again, it does say it was a split win the last lap, but he didn't pit, so they're just gonna extend the stint, and I'm not sure what the strategy is like, but they're in a battle with Jables, who's also picked up a 3-second penalty right now. So we're starting to see more penalties coming out now. So 2 drivers have picked up a penalty after 3 laps here. Both ETA drivers on the soft still in third and fourth right now, but this is definitely the softs are definitely past their best, as the mediums and the hards are definitely a better race tire at the moment.
Yeah, Snipes has just moved himself up into P12 as TJ Boss in the Ferrari outbroke himself into turn 1, allowed Matteo to come around the outside, but obviously with those medium compound tyres and the inside line too for good measure, had the racing line and stayed in P2, so he made the move there, and both McLarens then quite close to each other on the soft compound tyres. What are they going to do? Are they going to, because they're going to lose a lot more time now as it's lap 10 out of 35, so those softs then must be past their best for sure. And let's see when they go for a pit stop. Will it be this lap? Oh, I thought Nicolo would dive in because he lagged a bit, or maybe had a bad exit out of turn number 13 there. But they stay out for one more lap, so I'm surprised how long they can go for on the soft compound tyres. Maybe I underestimate the tyre wear a bit, because I think the softs are just a rubbish tyre in general around any track. But it proves to be a good tyre around here in Hungary. They're keeping the pace towards P2 as Sahilu has checked out in front, dispatching the McLaren and just pulled away ever since. That's very important because he's alone in this race. He's got no one to fight with and no one to get DRS from either. So not under pressure there, because once you're in DRS range of somebody, it's quite hard to pull out of it because they have that extra speed down the straights and keep in contact with you. But Sahilu there in a great position with a 2.6 second gap with no penalties. I'll talk about a penalty. And Ree in P11 there on the back of name changer as we got a Haas who spun. And let's see what oh, there's an Avatari who spun too. Who is that? Is that, oh, it's him. Enru unfortunately has gone for a spin.
Enru's avoiding spun right there in turn 5, letting his teammate go through, so he's definitely struggling on those medium tires. Letting his teammate through, who's on an alternative strategy right there, doing a Schumacher there. Not quite a full stop strategy, but 2 stops seems to be nearby somewhat. Matteo and Nick Lope have shown decent pace still in the soft tires, because after 11 laps they still are staying in the DRS window of the Ferrari right there, and not even falling behind Chiulu that much, as David picks up a 3-second penalty right there. So I think Snipes was really struggling on those soft tires and planned to do a 2-stop very early on here, but it seems to be working because he's now in clean air, 6 seconds or 5.6 to be exact, behind a name change right there, who's in part of the DRS train of all the cars ahead. So this seems to be working pretty well, as Snipes is pretty much closing that gap from a pit stop window to the car's head. So not sure what the outcome of the race will be, but Snipes has definitely spiced his race up there with that 2-stop strategy right there.
I'll talk about a 2-stop strategy. In the comments, someone said RCR on a 2-stop strategy, so both Alpines in P14 and P16 on a 2-stop. So let's see how it pays out for them as well in the Alpine camp. As so far, Julian was all over the back of Nicolo into turn number 2, but yeah, he was up the inside, but Nicolo had it around the outside and stayed ahead. Looks like he was sliding through the corners as well with those soft compound tyres. I'm surprised. I've seen many surprising things in league racing. I've seen somebody take the soft compound tyres 18 laps at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yes, 18 laps. I do remember that. It was from Rudy as well. That's an incredible drive on the softs. 8 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. I can't remember what game it was, but it was just incredible moment there to take those soft compound tyres a long way. So many surprising things. It's all about drivers, it's all about the setup as well, and how you can manage the tyres, because people like me, well, I can't take the tyres the same distance as these guys can on the softs. Even if I had their setups on, I don't think I could do it, because it takes a lot of skill to do that, as Matteo still holds the back of TJ Bosted. So despite being on the softs, he's still catching up to that Ferrari.
Nick Lope seems to be struggling, and whilst I was talking about him, he's picked up a 3-second penalty. He's definitely losing more time compared to his teammate right there, who's still sticking in the DRS of Chables right there, so really strong pace there for Matteo. But Nick Lope seems to be really struggling at the moment, and the hard tires are definitely a better tire at the moment, as Julian is trying to get closer and closer to him to potentially overtake him and get close to the top 3 again. Oh my goodness!
That's a big crash as Nicolo has lost it, and a safety car has been deployed then. So he's actually helped his teammate in P3 as he can get off those soft compound tyres. I saw him squirrel out the exit there, lost the car, smashed into the wall, and somebody actually hit him as well. Was it Julian in P4 who actually made contact with him? I'm not quite sure. But he stays out there, Julian, because he probably don't want to do that double stack. It's his teammate now is in the pit. So this has changed the trajectory of this race. Where is Snipes? He's in P10, so this hasn't worked out for him at all down in P10 as he would have wanted to jump these guys once those made their pit stop on the softs and mediums there. So he's back in the pit lane. Henry has helped him a bit to get back in this race as he was struggling earlier on with grip. I want to talk about Henry because he had great pace to qualify but just couldn't hook it up. Can the AlphaTauri driver, his teammate is on another level so far in this race. So Henry there got caught out a bit, especially down at turn number, where was it, turn number 4, where he made contact with Kart Racer. That definitely lost him a lot of time. So qualifying, if it wasn't for that final corner moment like Nicholas Latifi back in 2022, he could have taken pole position with the pace he had because he rectified his mistakes in sector 3. But it was just the final 2 corner, one too many. The tyres were probably just overheated at that point and just lost it. But yeah, he's suffered some bad luck in this race as Andrew, and hopefully he can claw his way back. He's on the hard compound tyres, so he'll take them towards the end. We've got a mixture of strategies as Rick Gamby in the Haas has gone for the soft compound tyres. So that's definitely another pit stop headed towards this way. So this middle stint here for the Haas is looking to gain as many positions as he can before he sticks on a brand new set of the mediums, I presume, in this race. A few gone for the hards. We've got half splitted by mediums and hards, and Julian in P1 has stayed out there, so he's going for the long. He's going for that long stint from hards to softs probably, as he could probably extend it. So he'll be under huge pressure from the guys behind. I dare say he might be a bit of a guinea pig for Sahilu there in P2, as he will definitely let his teammate go, and he will definitely defend from those guys behind, because those guys behind, his lead has been wiped out in this race. So if TJ Boss can stick with him, it might be a bit of a hard time for Sahilu there in P2 as the guys behind will have DRS. Matteo is on a set of medium compound tyres along with Kart Racer, and the Ferrari in P8 of Kakowski in P8, Snipes as well, and name changes. So the guys on mediums looking in great shape as well.
I think it is a mistake there from Julian by staying out right there, because everyone behind him has fresh tyres, and especially on this game, fresh tyres just make a huge difference. I've seen in plenty of league races where guys stay out of the safety car and other cars pitted, for example, and they just provide so much more grip, and the guys on who stayed out just fall through the roof right there. So he should have pitted and just gone on the medium tyres, because then he would have been around, he would have been P5, because he was behind of course Nicolope and Matteo, and he's gonna lose that massively because he still has to make a pit stop here. So let's see how Julian's race is gonna come out from here, but it doesn't look great. I want to know his heart rates as well, because Nicolope just lost the car there, ghosted through Julian and had a massive incident there. So bit scary for him there, to be honest, but safe guys come out for that reason, and let's see how this race is gonna go now. But this has definitely ruined Snipes' race right there, because he was on the 2-stop strategy, that's pretty much close to the back of the cars on the 1-stop there, and has lost us all that advantage as the safety car's coming in right now. Bit of a late car right there, so Julian's gonna control the pack right there.
I think caught up at the final second, so no more. Well, the safety car won't go out for one more lap, so the safety car is in. And I think I know what you're talking about in terms of staying out there. We've seen, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Resify, if Resify is watching, because he usually does support his team every time they go for a race in Team Esports, Resify did the same thing, and he dropped all the way back to the field as he stayed out there on all the tyres. So as we come towards the final corner, it looks like Matteo's got a decent run on the Ferrari then as we go side by side. Both Mercedes swap positions as you expect, but Matteo then side by side with TJ Boss as we head down into the first corner we go. Matteo has the outside line, but that was so close there, as actually the Ferrari stayed ahead, but he desperately wants to get past that Mercedes then, because he can't afford to stay behind him. Yuli will try to defend this as much as he can. Sahilu actually gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags there, so that's actually shot himself in the foot right there, because at the end of the race he'll take 5 seconds unless he'll serve it in the pit lane then. So Yuli has actually dropped back into 5th place. I think Sahilu's fear there as Stevan's punching the ball in frustration there as he sees his driver get a 5-second time penalty. Can't race up the inside now, Julian. I don't think Sahilu could have gave that place back because Julian was under huge pressure as you can hear him huffing and puffing. Stefan, he's really angry now as his team is losing a lot of performance.
Yeah, Julian unfortunately falling to the pack right there like expected. The new tire just making so much difference there. Getting overtaken by 2 cars right by one LDR car, making contact with the LDR car and one WR driver there. But Julian has lost 8 positions coming through in 1 lap there, and it's got both Haas cars, one Haas and one AlphaTauri driver behind him now. So this has been a disaster of a restart there for Julian right there, who's now outside the top 10 right there. And the reason why Chiliu got a 5-second penalty is because Julian slowed up. There were still yellow flags and Chiliu overtook him. So the steward's gonna have to look at that one if that can be removed. But he's moved 1 second clear of Matteo right there, who's just past Chables right there, also on the hard tires right there. Let's see how long Matteo can stretch those medium tires. He really did well on the soft tire here, so he can make it till the end there for sure, but only has 1 car now for the ETA team. So this is an opportunity for other teams to close up in the championship right there, who are potentially close to ETA. So this will spice up the championship for sure.
That multi-car battle was very interesting at the final 2 corners of the last lap, with all those guys jockeying for position and setting themselves in. So Astroud there up into P8 ahead of name changer. Snipes was in P11, now he's up into P7, so great restart there for Snipes as he lost a lot of time due to that safety car. Definitely cost him the safety car, but still he's in PA7 then behind guys on medium compound tyres. I haven't mentioned the Ferrari CPI driver of Katowski there in P6, doing a great job so far. His teammates got a penalty in P3 as Sahilu sets the fastest lap of the race. I don't think Sahilu's got the outright pace to just pull a 5-second gap. He can't even get out of DRS range, so it looks like he'll be suffering there, and we'll have to carry that 5-second penalty unless he makes another stop, which he won't do as he's on the hards. Maybe a safety car could come out too, or serve it towards the end. So that's his options for him. But yeah, definitely frustrated there as Sahilu pulled out too early and overtaken Julian, and yeah, essentially got himself that 5-second penalty. Cut back off because Julian was under huge pressure, and therefore he would have lost a lot of time himself and a lot of positions. But still, he had some great pace early in this race. If he gave the place back, could he have gained them back too? If he lost some places with those guys fighting with Julian. Julian has fallen down to P15 now on a brand new set of the medium compound tyres, so his strategy hasn't gone well whatsoever. So IRT were in a great position in P1 and P5 until that safety car came out, was Julian decided to stay out. He should have pitted and suffered with that double start, because now he's fallen down way further than he would have wanted down in P15 with an 18-second gap to his nearest rival then. So definitely not worked out for IRT, and Sahilu there with that 5-second penalty as well. Double blow for both Mercedes, unfortunately, from the IRT team, as Matteo then with DRS we're fighting with Sahilu then once again in this race as he's on the medium compound tyres. So let's see, he doesn't have to go for it of course, because yes he will then down the inside into turn number 1 he goes. He wants to take the lead immediately. Sahilu there trying to fight back around the outside, can't quite do it on the hard compound tyres as Matteo has double dose of DRS there and stays in P1 then. So great move down the inside to take P1 away as Gagowski is putting pressure on kart racer ahead of him, who's also on the medium compound tyres, pressurising the LDL driver of Cobra. We haven't spoken much about the LDL drivers, so they're doing a great job. One's in P4, the other one's in P9. Due to that safety car, they had to double stack because they were quite close together, so one of them was going to lose a position, but it's down in P9 as Luke has overtaken David for P13. So actually, LDL of Cobra might find himself a podium, because those two have got a penalty, especially Sahilu with that 5-seconder. So LDL driver P4 Cobra in a really great position so far.
Totally agree right there with you, Jamie. LDL we haven't spoken about them much, but they're in P4 and P9, and with both of them being on the hard tires and 5 cars being on the medium tires, they're still gonna have to do 16 laps after they've completed this one. So it's going to be a really difficult stint there for all the medium runners there. So LDO are looking in a really good window right now to get a double top 5 even. If it carries on like this. Of course it could change on later on with a potential safety car right there, but LDR are looking at really good windows. Andrew actually goes on the inside there of the other LDL driver, but Doesn't need to make the move past here. Using a bit of ERS. Not a lot of room given, but can he go around the outside of turn 3 right there? Slight bit of contact right there, but Andrew makes the move stick right there. And that's overtaking the LDL driver. What an overtake there from the WR driver. And can the AlphaTauri driver move ahead now? Actually goes off track right there, but has done a really good overtake as Rick Gambit picks up a 3-second penalty.
And we were playing with fire, as I've seen him go off the track twice now, so that might be his second warning, so you've got to be very careful. In fact, he has got a penalty, so it's a 3-second time penalty for him, so can't afford to pick up any more. However, Matteo now in P1 has checked out on those medium compound tyres, has a good lead. It's a 1.4 second gap as he's left Sahilo in the clutches of TJ Boss in P3 then, so Matteo this time has the advantage, so staying out there on the soft compound tyres has paid him dividends as well. He switched over to the soft medium strategy. You don't really see that nowadays. It's usually hard to mediums to hard, but different variables of strategy coming into play as well, and that's paid out to be in his favours. And now he's pulling away from Sahilo and the rest of them. Sahilo had that early advantage as he pulled away from the rest of them, but it's now Matteo's turn to take the lead, and he's comfortable from there and shouldn't go wrong from there at all unless the safety car comes out and bunches them all up. He has the pace advantage on those medium compound tyres, so he has to pull away as much as he can. I think those mediums can go towards the end, so there shouldn't be any problem, but they'll definitely come towards the end of a cliff once they come towards the end of the race. But yeah, he should use these tyres to good advantage now to try and pull away while he leaves Sahilo in the clutches of TJ Boss. I haven't mentioned him. TJ Boss has been there and abouts, and the CPI driver doing a great job so far on P3, but unfortunately has got that 3-second time penalty over his name, so he's actually his teammate down in P6 might gain a few positions as well, being stuck down there in that DRS train. Kikowski in P6 representing CPI as well. He was under pressure from Snipes, who's been threatened a few moves now and then. So great moves from the AlphaTauri Snipes as well. Both AlphaTauris showing some great pace. It's actually, he's got a 3-second time penalty. He's just went on the edge of track limits there, coming out of turn number 13, and unfortunately picked himself up his 3-second time penalty. I think that's his first penalty in the session as well, so it's cool. It's very cool, but track limits is track limits, but he'll have to suffer with that throughout the rest of the race and see where he ends up. He's at the back of the Ferrari. Kikowski goes to the right hand side to defend, and Snipes takes the inside line into turn number 1 we go. Rick Gamby picks up another 3-second time, but he's actually in the pits now for speeding. That's why he got his penalty. But Snipes there, he's blocked by the Ferrari, can't get anywhere near him around the outside or inside, as Kikowski had DRS to protect himself against Snipes, but actually Kikowski's fallen away from the 1 second range of DRS, so Snipes there might fancy a move, but what happened to his teammate? I don't think he'll do it on that occasion, and stays behind the Ferrari for the time being there. So Kikowski there under huge pressure from the AlphaTauri. Great defending from the Ferrari as well to keep the race in line and prevent him from overtaking around the outside or in the inside too.
Update there on Julian at the back with there. He might have made a late pit stop there, but just a purple final sector right there. So he's rapidly gained the time once again to the hard runners there, and can definitely make it to the end of the Grand Prix right there. So if cars do start to struggle on the current tires, then Julian will be in a great window to potentially overtake them again. He's jumped 5 seconds ahead of Rick Gamba, who's down in P11 I think he was. So if Julian keeps on his current pace and starts closing up these cars, then he could be in the spot again for some points, even though he did make that mistake by staying out under the safety car right there. The medium are still looking in a very good window here, as Matteo is still controlling the lead there with a 1.8 second lead right there, and driving a really strong race at the moment, Matteo, for the ETA team right there.
And Snipes eventually goes up into P6 then ahead of Kikowski, but however on the same lap Cobra, I thought he was in a position to overtake the Ferrari, but TJ Boss picks himself up another penalty, so that's 6 seconds added to his name. But Kart Racer has actually stuck up at the inside of Cobra into turn number 1 there and moves himself up into P4, and he's in a great position to take a podium away, as he can use the Ferrari as a DRS train as well, also on those medium compound tyres. So it's looking great for the medium runners so far in this race, and the safety cars completely changed all of that, because the people that was on the mediums early in this race had to go to the hards, as it paid out for the people that actually started on the hards or softs, because, well, not for Julian of course, because he stayed out there on old hard compound tyres and he dropped outside the top 10 dramatically in the space of like half a sector. So didn't pay dividends whatsoever as he got swallowed up by the rest of them. And Cobra will be looking to gain back P4 because he got snatched away from him from Kart Racer, who went up the inside. And also, TJ Boss is also derated on the straight then, so he can't get a DRS of Sahilu, so he's broken out of the DRS range as Sahilu, but he needs to pull out a 5-second gap over the guys behind as well. Be hoping also that the pain will be easier because those guys could also pick up a 3-second time penalty. So if they do pick up a 3-seconder, Sahilu might have to only gain 2 seconds over him rather than the 5 seconds. But so far, Kart Racer and Cobra haven't picked up that penalty so far, so Sahilu will be hoping for that. Also, not a safety car either because that'll bunch up the field and definitely be harder to pull away. But Mateo is pulling away in P1 so far, unchallenged at the front so far. Ever since he taken that P1 on the soft compound tyres, switched over to the mediums, overtaken Sahilu, and pulled away ever since. Though it's looking great for him as Kart Racer all over the back there of TJ Boss. It looks like he's struggling so far on the hard compound tyres then, with the Aston Martin handing him from the back, also followed by the Williams is also on the hard compound tyre, with Snipes in the background too. Snipes disadvantage. Oh, what's happened there? A Haas has caused a safety car, and that is Rick Gamby down there in the Haas, who has lost his wing coming out of turn number 4. And that's an easy place to drop it as well, as the safety car has been deployed then. So Hilu will have to serve his 5-second time penalty in the pits due to pitting. So let's see what happens. Snipes has stayed out there, Stevan.
Snipes has stayed out there, like you said, and he's gonna be on all medium tires. And if you go on what happened to Julian, then he's gonna be absolutely swallowed up by cars on the soft tires and some even on the medium tires right there. This is a disaster for Chile, who's now rejoined in 6th place right there, whilst he was in 2nd place there, having to serve the 5-second penalty. Everyone making a pit stop apart from Snipes there, so Snipes has got to do his best there to defend the lead right there, as Rigambe is sped on the safety car period right now, so his race is pretty much gone to an end right there without front wing. Keeps going for the moment, but his race got a lot more difficult than it already was. So let's see how the Haas driver will respond to this. We only have 3 drivers on the soft tires here. Matteo, of course, the driver who seems to be managing his tires really well here, has gone on the soft tires. Same for Cobra here. The LDL driver is having a good race for, kept it clean, and now in P5 right there. So let's see how the soft tires can do. But the soft tires didn't really have that big of an advantage early, despite of course having more grip. So let's see how the drivers do. But the medium tires seems to be favourable along the grid right there.
Right, so Matteo then, I think he's used 2 sets of soft compound tyres because he was running the softs on the early stage. So how many tyres did he save up in the qualifier? Did he have to sacrifice a set of softs during the race? Who knows? So that's going to be, depends, I don't know how old those tyres are they brand new? I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out towards the end of the race, because we definitely seen him in qualifying do quite a few laps as well. But Snipes in P1 will be under huge pressure from the guys behind. We might see what happened to Julian down in P14. The best thing for Chihuahua has in P6, he's got rid of that 5-second time penalty, so he doesn't have to worry about losing positions at the end of the race and pulling that gap with that safety car helping him. So hasn't really cost him too much now. He's dropped out the podium, but bearing in mind those Snipes and TJ Boss have a penalty, and I think TJ Boss has got 6 seconds. As Luke there, former LFR owner, as Kikowski's jumping up the order. Not quite sure what he's doing. I think he lighted up the order a bit. He's actually overtaken Sahilu, so he just came out of nowhere, did Kikowski, just teleported to the front, but hopefully it sorts itself out now.
Let's see how this race is gonna fold on the as Cobra has actually picked up a 5-second penalty right there. I'm not sure what happened there. Ignoring yellow flags right there. Maybe some desync happening right there, so could be a penalty removal after the race here, but for the moment he's got a 5-second penalty. He did not have a 3-second penalty anyway, so he's currently still in P5 right there, but with other cars having penalties, he's still in a good shot there for a podium, because 2 cars ahead have more than 3 seconds. I think if we go pick up the penalty stat right now, Snipes got 3 seconds, which is not that many. He's which only got 1 warning after the 3 seconds. Chables got 6 seconds, which will definitely set him back quite a lot right there. As of course Safeguard is coming in this lap. Cobra's got 5 seconds at the moment, Andrew 3, Kapitein has got 3 seconds, David 3, and then we've got Rick Gamba at the back with a drive-through penalty, having to serve it after this lap right there. And the Safeguard's coming in this lap. I'll leave it over to you, Jamie.
I think Cobra has the right to get rid of that penalty, because I think it was all due to Kakowski moving up the order. So Cobra there should have his 5-second penalty removed, and they're all bunched up there right behind Snipes, who might be finding himself in a vulnerable position then, as Tato says it's going to be an NLR double podium. So let's see how it all plays out there between the Aston Martin drivers, Kart Racer and P4. Name changer in P8 as we head towards the final corner. Let's see what happens. Then the Snipes is holding them all up as he pins it. Will he pin it towards the final corner? No. He waits, he goes now. And Mateo's all over the back of him, but I dare say it'll be easy pickings. He actually fights him, pulls him to the right hand side as Mateo goes up the inside then into turn number 1. And there's a huge battle's going on in the midfield there. Side by side action. Mateo takes the lead of the race. Wheel banging with Snipes there as TJ Boss wants to follow through immediately and not get stuck behind the person on all the tyres. It goes around the outside. There's contact there in the midfield. Is that Astroud, who's fallen down the order? TJ Boss is up in second place. Here comes Kart Racer side by side now with the AlphaTauri. It's going to be so close. And Snipe goes off the track, and also Kart Racer also goes off the track with Cobra around the outside too as they bang wheels once again. A dramatic safety car restart with only a few laps to go in this race as it's both stuck behind the AlphaTauri. And Astroud deep there on the brakes, has made contact with Kart Racer, goes for a switchback. Down the inside he goes as he tries to hang on with him. Now up the inside into the medium seat corner we go. And this is so tight there between all these guys. Actually, Snipes is pulled away from these guys despite fighting this middle sector and all the tyres as Cobra eventually takes P4 away. So what a battle between those two going side by side in that middle sector, twisty part of the track as Kowski there fighting with the Mercedes Ahilu as we see battles everywhere. Unfortunately for the LDL driver of Astroud, falling down the order. I'm not quite sure what happened. I saw a bit of contact to turn number 2, but I didn't quite see the full extent of it. But however, Cobra on the back of LDL Snipes then as he chooses where to go. He's going to go around the outside into turn number 1 we go. Who's deep on the brakes? Can the Cobra stick around the outside there? Oh, he gets another penalty. That's a 3-seconder as Rick Gambry gets retired from the pit lane there. Snipes defending as hard as he can, trying to help Andrew in P9. But they both spawn! In fact, one of them spins. Actually, Cobra saves the car, but it actually Snipes who's the end up spinning as well. So luckily, the Williams driver, Cobra, actually saves the car, but he didn't want to fight it out too hard, especially with driver on all the tyres as Snipes then forced the back of the field along with Astroud. And now the battle of the podium is intense between these guys. So Hilu is in a fighting chance on the podium now with that 5-second penalty removal.
It was that Cobra lost the back end right there and hit Snipes off track right there, so the stewards are gonna have to look at that one right there, but definitely a mistake there from Cobra, unfortunately just losing the car right there, eager on the throttle trying to overtake around the outside of Snipes right there, so hopefully he can create as much of a gap as he can and close back up to the back of the CPI driver of Chables right there, who's sticking within the rest of Matteo right there, even though he's got 6 seconds here, so Matteo is in prime position to win this race with only 7 laps to go, start from this one here, so Matteo is in a really good shape right now, but the battle for the podium is still very much on right there with about 6 cars in a 5 cars in a battle for it right now. Snipes has picked up 5-second penalty and retires into the pit lane. Unfortunately there for Snipes, who was in a really good strategy right there, but just ruined by safety cars right there. Which is a shame, but that's also part of racing unfortunately, and hopefully he can bounce back next week.
Yeah, indeed, both AlphaTauri are looking quite strong in this race, but they've only had the separate incidents. I remember Andrew also making contact with Aston Martin down at turn number 4, and that cost him, but he's back in the top 8 now, is the Alpha driver. The only AlphaTauri driver left in this race, I think, representing, is it WOR, those two guys?
Yeah, it's only Enru left now for WOR in P8 at the moment. Here, he's got a 3-second penalty here, but Julian and Capitan also have 3-second penalties here, so if Noah can stick within 3 seconds of the cars ahead, then he'll be jumping up to P8 right there, but looking at his pace, I don't think he'll quite manage to do that as he's losing a couple of tenths right there without DRS as well. As Chables is picked in a battle with Matteo right now for the lead here, so the medium tires generally just working better right there for every car here. The soft tires is not a good race tire like Jamie mentioned early on in the stream, and Chables has taken the lead right there. Can he pull away from Cobra and other cars behind? That should be his main aim. Just use DRS and pull away a bit Matteo right there. And get P2 on track right there, because he can do it. As Namejer has also picked up a penalty, so that's another car out of contention for the podium right there, unless there's major incidents here. So more and more cars picking up penalties at the moment.
Yeah, J-Boss in P1 on the mediums has got a 6-second time penalty there, so I dare say I see him falling off the podium. Matteo there will be under huge pressure knowing that Boss is on 6-second time penalties, so he doesn't have to fight it as hard as doesn't have to fight it hard at all, because he knows if he does, he might find himself also with a 3-second time penalty. Depends if he makes mistakes himself as well. So Hilo knows there's a podium on the cards as well, with Boss and Cobra with penalties, but I dare say Cobra can get one of them removed, that 5-second time penalty, because it was unfair, and he was in P5 anyways, but it was actually Kakowski's car that teleported up to the front of the field. Here comes the Hilo. Will he fancy a move on the inside? Nope, too far back on that occasion to make a move. Fighting a kart racer who's also in contention of a podium then. So the NLR boys of kart racer looking for a podium, as he knows it's on the cards. I think these two will end up on the podium anyway due to Boss's penalties and Cobra's penalties. But bearing in mind though, Cobra could get that 5-second remove, so he's left with 3-second time penalty is Cobra, because he did pick up another one after that. So yeah, if I get my maths right, it just should be alright for him, I think. No, it won't, because the guys behind don't have one, so I'm not quite sure what I was on about. It was just all in the moment there, trying to figure out what's going on this race with all these penalties that are being in play. But Kart Racer then has Sahilu to think about. If he's tactical about this, he knows Cobra has got a legit 3-second time penalty on his name. So if Kart Racer will use DRS on the back of Cobra to keep Sahilu behind, because Sahilu's gaining and gaining, looks like he's got some decent pace. Sahilu's shown some decent pace so far in this race too, ever since the first stint. So he might been a bit of a disadvantage there, with also Kart Racer getting DRS on the back of Cobra, as Sahilu there will try and find his way past the Aston Martin as quickly as he can before the end of the race. Lap 32 out of 35 then, as we head down on the straight, as we head into turn 1. Is Sahilu close enough to make a move on the inside? No, because the Aston Martin has him covered on the inside, but Sahilu gets a decent exit out of turn number 1. You can see him wheel spinning there out of turn number 1 there, as Kart Racer lives to fight on another day, as Loke and David are fighting for P11 and P12. Let's see how that goes down between the two. The Haas don't have DRS, so Luke has the DRS, so he should stay in P12 unless the Haas comes around the outside, which he does, but he goes a bit deep, and Luke takes the place away once again, as the battle continues between P3 downwards then. So Kart Racer is under huge pressure there from Sahilu right behind. LLR looking for a podium around here in Hungary. So is the IRT driver, so is LDL or Cobra, but unfortunately he's got a 3-second time penalty to his name.
It's generally a good racecraft there from Kart Racer. Of course, Kart Racer is well known in this community, has driven in the IRT League before, in previous season actually, and has generally some good racecraft. Doesn't have to make a move as always, and Chilu as well, just sticking behind Kart Racer and using each other to move up to gain as much time to Chables, who's actually pulling away from Matteo now, so it looks like the soft tires are starting to fall off right here for Matteo, and Chables is just driving away at the moment, but not enough to clear him of that 6-second penalty right now. Talk about Kart Racer. Kart Racer now moved up to third place right there, and Cobra has actually lost more position right now, down to P6 at the moment. So those soft tires have definitely fallen off quite a bit with Kadgowski and getting past now. But Cobra, oh no, that's contact between Cobra and Chiliu right there, and that's the LDL driver around there. The LDL driver was driving a great race right there, unfortunately spun out and is outside of the points for the moment here. So that's going to be looked at by the stewards, but we're going to focus on the race right now, as Kart Race is now trying to close the gap to the car's head and is looking for a potential race win. If Matteo starts losing more and more time on those soft tires, the gap is down to 1.9 seconds, and the other CPI driver in 4th place is also still in the DRS window of Kart Racer now, so CPI is secretly looking for a really good result right now, for potential 1 and 2 even, if it carries on like this, or 1 and 3 here.
Sahelu is really sliding out the corners. He did it at turn number 2. He lost a place towards Kakowski in P4. Like you said, this is the DRS range of Kart Racer Low. Looking for a podium here for CPI, both drivers, but I dare say TJ Boss won't get that due to the penalties he has, which is 6 seconds, I believe it is. Yes, it is. So he won't get a penalty, but his teammate might. So let's see if Kakowski can get on the top step, well, the third step of the podium for CPI. And also Sahilo there would be absolutely frustrated fighting with the Williams and Cobra because down at turn number 1, I think. I actually can't remember what happened now. It happened so quick, so I actually need to go back on board with that because I was on board throughout the whole of it. There was great racing. Kakowski went around the outside of both of them and took them both on and moves himself up into P4. So a great chance of a podium there for. In fact, I remember now, Kart Racer was fighting with Cobra. Sahilu tried to take advantage around the outside. I think those two made contact, Cobra and Sahilu. Therefore, allow Kakowski to go around the outside, take P4 away, and down at turn number 2, Sahilu and Cobra were side by side, then it ended in the spin. And yeah, Sahilu's left there in P5, fighting for a podium, went down to P5 immediately after that, and now Kakowski has a chance of getting that podium too. But he's 9/10 behind Kart Racer, who's had great pace. He actually dropped him outside the DRS range, has Kart Racer there, so he might be fancying a podium here tonight, or this evening if he can stay outside the 1 second range of DRS. And it's the last lap of the race then, so TJ Boss will lead them away. I think Kakowski will get a podium. I don't know what I'm talking about because TJ Boss got that 6 second time penalty. So one for Roy falls and the other one will gain, and that's Kakowski up into P3 once they cross the finish line as TJ Boss leads them away. Oh, he almost lost it out of turn number 2. They're just sliding as Loke has got ahead of Cobra. They're fighting over P10. There they are then in the Alpine and Williams. And here comes the other Williams and Astrad. Loke is getting out of shape. And here comes Astrad around the outside then. Into turn number 2 we go on those soft compound tyres. Astrad takes the outside line ahead of the Williams and gets the move done into turn number 3 as we head now up into turn number 4. What happened to Name Changer?
Name James was off track there, he's got dirt on his tires, losing the back end there after turn 5 right there, probably too eager on the throttle right there and lost completely his tires right now and lost 2 positions, which promotes Andrew and Julian up 1 more place right there. So if Name James isn't careful he can lose more positions, but his tires seems to calm down here. But as you come through the final sector right now, it's Shables leading the race, but it will be Matteo winning the race as Name Change picks up another penalty here.
Yeah, here comes J-Boss around the final corner and he takes P1, but the victory will belong to Matteo in P1 there as he wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Car Racer for NLR is on the podium and CPI also get a podium too with Kakowski in P3 as Boss falls down into P5 there. Sahilo in P4 ahead of Anru in P6, IRT Julian in P7 ahead of Name Changer who got those penalties at the end. Captain in P9, and there it is then. There are the results. This race has been fascinating indeed with plenty of mixture strategies going on in the field there with softs, mediums and hards, and also those 2 safety cars that came out and changed the whole trajectory of this race and changed the whole script as well, with all the people benefiting and other people dropping down the order. So what a fantastic race this has been for the 3rd race here for IRT Esports, and on top it is Matteo in P1. What a great drive from him as well. And Kart Racer in P2 representing NLR with Kakowski in P3 for CPI. It's just been a great day for those guys as well. And Matteo, who starts on the pole, finishes in P1. His teammate Nicolope unfortunately crashed out. Actually benefited for Matteo as he was able to put on that set of medium compound tyres. Then a safety car came out for the 2nd time and Matteo was able to go back on the soft compound tyres and take that P1 away then. So one McLaren fell and the other one rose to the top.
Yeah, still good data from ETA there with Matteo just driving a really strong race right there. Good time management, way better than other cars right there, and having good consistent pace throughout the Grand Prix. So definitely deserved race win right there. Kept his nose clean despite all the battles there, and yeah, very much deserved win there for ETA. So looking forward to seeing him next time out. He was a late call-up as well, if I'm certain, if I can remember that. And he got fast lap as well, so that also helps there. But of course the point system is a bit different compared to the official F1 stance here. But it is Matteo winning the Grand Prix ahead of Car Race in 2nd, Gagowski in 3rd place, Chiliu in 4th place, but will potentially get a penalty still after Stu reports, but we will talk about it afterwards. J-Boss in P5, shame about those penalties because he showed good pace. Andrew 6th, Julian 7th, name changes 8th, Kapitein 9th, Astrad in 10th, Loic 11th, Cobra in 12th, David in 13th, and then 14th. I didn't quite manage to spot, but outside the points. But it's still, we saw a very good Grand Prix with 2 safety cars. Of course, would have loved to see Snipes there with the alternative strategy, see how his race would have panned out, because he showed some really strong pace right there. But let's see how it's gonna go next week. Jamie, appreciate you commentating once again alongside me for this week. We might have a different commentator next week, but we will see. Appreciate you, Jamie.
Indeed, indeed. It's been a great commentary duo with me and Steve. I'm back in the commentary box once again, as NLR and ETA are in great form so far, as they both had podiums in all 3 races. And also Mohammed, who won the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Daniel. It was a McLaren 1-2 for ETA, and also Daniel finished in P3 at the Zandvoort Dutch Grand Prix. And also here, Matteo has secured a victory. So they've had 2 wins and a few podiums, have ETA and LLR as well have also been in the mix too. So ETA has done a great job so far this esports event, and hopefully they can keep up with their current form. I think NLR are starting to close in as well, along with CPI with Kakowski there. So let's see what happens in the next few weeks. And wow, very good pilot here, as Benjamin LDL Cobra says. But yeah, thank you, Stefan, for joining me in the commentary box. It's been a pleasure to commentate alongside you once again.
Appreciate it, mate. Always great to be alongside you, since you're a quality commentator.
I try my best, but we'll see you all next time out for round number 4. And for me and Stefan, it is over and done with. Hopefully you've all enjoyed the F1 Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix, and also the MotoGP at the Spanish Grand Prix in Catalonia. And those 2 have been great races so far as well for our F1 viewers and MotoGP viewers as well. So we'll see you all next time, next week on Sunday at 4:30.